My friends, I want you to understand something today. Within you lies a strength greater than any challenge you will ever face. You were not created to live in fear, doubt, or weakness. You were designed by the Creator with power, with authority, with purpose, but that power is not activated by talent, intelligence, or connections. No, it is unlocked through prayer and faith. Prayer is not just a ritual. It is the divine connection between you and the source of all wisdom, strength, and guidance. It is the bridge between the visible and the invisible, between what is and what is possible. When you pray, you are not begging. No, you are aligning. You are stepping into the place where heaven meets earth, where impossibilities bow to the will of God. Faith is the key that turns the lock. It is not just belief, it is conviction. It is the unshakable confidence that no matter what you see, no matter what you hear, no matter what you feel, there is a greater reality at work. Faith does not deny the storm. It declares that the storm will not define you. Faith does not ignore the mountain. It commands the mountain to move. You may have been told that you are not strong enough, not smart enough, not good enough, but I am here to tell you that the strength you need is already inside you. You don't need to look for it in people. You don't need to wait for the right opportunity. You don't need to depend on external validation. The power is in you. And when you tap into prayer, when you walk in faith, nothing can stop you from becoming everything you were created to be. Prayer is more than a routine, more than a tradition, and more than words spoken into the air. It is a powerful connection to the divine, a direct line to the source of wisdom, strength, and purpose. Many people see prayer as an obligation, something they do out of habit or religious duty, but prayer is far greater than that. It is the access point to supernatural insight, a tool that unlocks realms beyond human understanding, and a force that brings transformation. When you engage in true prayer, you are not merely speaking. You are entering into a dialogue with the Creator. You are stepping into the presence of the one who holds all knowledge, all power, and all authority. Every great move of God in history was preceded by prayer. Every breakthrough, every revelation, every shift that changed the course of nations and individuals began when someone chose to engage in prayer. Prayer is not just an action. It is an invitation into a divine partnership. One of the greatest misconceptions about prayer is that it is about convincing God to do something. That is not the essence of true prayer. True prayer is about alignment, about bringing yourself into agreement with the will, plans, and purposes of the Creator. God is not waiting to be persuaded. He is waiting for you to recognize what has already been made available. Prayer does not change God. It changes you. It opens your mind to understand what was previously hidden, to perceive solutions that were once obscured, and to gain strength that was already within you but had not yet been activated. Strength is not merely physical ability. True strength is the resilience of the spirit, the clarity of the mind, and the unshakable confidence that comes from knowing that you are not alone. The world teaches that strength comes from self-reliance, from talent, from strategy. But true lasting strength comes from a source that never runs dry. It is drawn from the well of divine wisdom, from the reservoir of supernatural empowerment that is accessed through prayer. The challenges of life often push people to their limits. There are moments when you feel as though you have exhausted every resource, tried every option, and yet the breakthrough does not come. This is where prayer shifts everything. Prayer is the difference between frustration and revelation. When you pray, you are no longer operating in your own understanding. You are tapping into divine intelligence. You are accessing strategies that no human wisdom could formulate, solutions that no earthly knowledge could provide. History has shown that those who cultivate a strong prayer life walk in a strength that defies circumstances. They endure hardships that would break others. They navigate challenges with wisdom that others cannot comprehend. They move forward when others retreat. This is because prayer does not just bring comfort, it brings clarity. It does not just ease burdens, it lifts them. When you enter into prayer, you are stepping into a space where earthly limitations no longer apply. Time, resources, and obstacles lose their power in the presence of divine guidance. The human mind is limited, but prayer connects you to an unlimited source. The natural realm may have barriers, but prayer operates in the supernatural, where barriers are broken and impossibilities are overturned. Many people live beneath their potential because they have not yet tapped into the power that is available to them. They struggle with confusion, indecision, and fear, all because they are disconnected from the wisdom that could illuminate their path. But when prayer becomes a priority, clarity follows. When communication with God becomes consistent, strength becomes evident. Strength is not something you manufacture, it is something you receive. It flows from the presence of God into the life of the one who remains connected. It is the reason why some walk through storms and remain unshaken. It is the reason why some face adversity and emerge victorious. This kind of strength is not based on natural ability, but on divine empowerment. Prayer unlocks it, activates it, and sustains it. Without prayer, strength fades. But with prayer, strength multiplies. Faith is not just a passive belief in something unseen. It is the force that transforms impossibilities into realities. It is the bridge between what is and what can be. Many people think faith is simply hoping for the best, wishing that things will improve, or waiting for circumstances to change. But true faith is not based on external conditions. It does not waver in the face of obstacles or retreat when challenges arise. Faith is an unshakable conviction, a confidence so strong that it moves mountains, shifts atmospheres, and commands circumstances to align with divine purpose. Faith is not a feeling. Feelings fluctuate. They are influenced by emotions, circumstances, and temporary experiences. But faith remains steady, unmoved by the storms of life. It does not ask for visible evidence before believing. It does not require proof before stepping forward. Faith moves before the way is clear, speaks before the answer appears, and acts as though the victory is already secured. It does not wait for permission from circumstances, but declares what will be even when nothing suggests it is possible. The greatest barrier to faith is doubt. Doubt is the voice that whispers, "What if it doesn't happen?" It is the weight that slows down progress, the hesitation that stops people from walking into their destiny. Doubt operates in the realm of human logic, calculating risks, considering limitations, and focusing on obstacles. Faith, on the other hand, operates beyond logic. It sees solutions before they exist. It embraces outcomes that have not yet manifested. It walks forward without waiting for ideal conditions. Faith is not blind optimism. It is rooted in a deep understanding of who God is and what He has promised. It is not wishful thinking, but a firm persuasion that the unseen is more real than the seen. Faith does not ignore facts, but it recognizes that facts are subject to change. A diagnosis is a fact, but faith declares healing. A financial crisis is a fact, but faith declares provision. A broken relationship is a fact, but faith declares restoration. Faith does not deny reality, it overrides it with a greater reality. Every major breakthrough, every great achievement, and every miraculous turnaround was made possible by faith. It is faith that causes doors to open when logic says they should remain closed. It is faith that brings victory when defeat seems certain. It is faith that elevates ordinary people into extraordinary purpose. There is no person who has ever fulfilled a great calling without faith. Talent alone is not enough. Resources alone are not enough. Intelligence alone is not enough. Faith is the force that turns potential into reality. Many people wait for conditions to be perfect before they step forward in faith. They want to see the provision before they take the first step. They want to have every detail worked out before they begin the journey. But faith does not wait for the perfect moment. It creates the moment. Faith does not wait for the right conditions. It declares the conditions to shift. The greatest achievements in history were birthed by people who moved forward when nothing seemed certain, who stepped into the unknown with confidence, who refused to let fear dictate their future. Faith is also a choice. It is not something that happens automatically. It must be cultivated, nurtured, and strengthened daily. The more faith is exercised, the stronger it becomes. Just as muscles grow with resistance, faith grows when it is tested. Challenges are not meant to break faith, but to build it. Opposition is not a sign to quit, but an opportunity to rise higher. Every trial, every delay, every obstacle is an invitation to strengthen faith, to trust deeper, and to believe beyond what the eyes can see. Faith is not passive, it is active. It speaks, it moves, it acts. It does not wait for confirmation, it creates confirmation. It does not submit to fear, it commands fear to leave. Faith does not take no for an answer when God has said yes. It presses forward when others turn back. It stands firm when everything around it is shaking. Faith is the difference between those who live in limitation and those who walk in victory. It is the key that unlocks the impossible and turns it into reality. Strength is not something you have to go searching for. It is already inside you. Too many people live their lives believing they are weak, inadequate, or incapable of handling the challenges they face. They look at their circumstances and conclude that they do not have what it takes to overcome. But the truth is, everything needed to rise above every obstacle, to conquer every battle, and to fulfill every purpose has already been placed within. The problem is not a lack of strength, but a lack of activation. Strength is not given in the moment of crisis. It is discovered. It is unearthed when the pressure is on, when the difficulties come, when the obstacles appear. Most people wait for external validation before they recognize their own potential. They wait for someone to tell them they are strong, for someone to give them permission to step into their greatness. But true strength does not come from the approval of others. It does not depend on what people say, what society expects, or what circumstances suggest. It comes from within, from the deep reservoir of power placed inside by the Creator. Strength is not something that must be added to a person's life. It is something that must be awakened. Many times people look at their lives and feel unqualified, unprepared, or unworthy of success. They measure their ability based on past failures, on present difficulties, or on the opinions of others. But strength is not based on past experiences. It is based on the ability to stand firm, to keep going, to rise again even after falling. Strength does not mean never facing difficulties. It means refusing to let difficulties define who you are. It does not mean never feeling weak. It means choosing to move forward even in moments of weakness. There is a reason why some people go through unimaginable hardships and come out stronger, wiser, and more determined, while others break under pressure. The difference is not in the challenge itself, but in the perspective. Those who recognize that strength is already within them see difficulties as opportunities to grow, while those who believe they are weak see challenges as reasons to quit. Strength is not determined by what happens to a person, but by how they respond. True strength is not loud, it is not boastful. It does not demand attention or seek recognition. It is the quiet confidence that stands firm in the storm, the inner resolve that refuses to bow to fear, the steady endurance that keeps pressing forward when everything says to turn back. Strength does not always look like power. Sometimes it looks like perseverance. It does not always feel like courage. Sometimes it feels like taking one small step forward when everything inside says to stop. One of the greatest hindrances to discovering inner strength is comparison. Too many people weaken themselves by measuring their abilities against others. They see someone else succeeding, someone else achieving, someone else advancing, and they assume they do not have what it takes. But strength is not about being the strongest person in the room. It is about being strong enough to fulfill the purpose assigned to you. It is not about competing with others. It is about maximizing what has been placed inside. Strength is also built through consistency. It is not something that appears overnight. It is something that develops through challenges, through perseverance, through daily commitment to growth. Every obstacle faced and overcome adds another layer of strength. Every difficult season endured builds resilience. Every act of courage, no matter how small, reinforces the foundation of strength within. Those who consistently choose to rise, to keep going, to believe in their ability to overcome are the ones who develop an unshakable inner fortitude. Nothing outside of a person can define their strength. No challenge is greater than the power within. No obstacle is stronger than the will to overcome. No failure is final unless it is accepted as defeat. Strength is not something to wait for, it is something to walk in. It is not something to ask for, it is something to activate. It is not something to seek from others, it is something to recognize in yourself. It has always been there, waiting to be unleashed, waiting to be revealed, waiting for the moment when you decide to step fully into it. Circumstances do not have the power to define who you are. Too many people allow their situations, struggles, and setbacks to dictate their identity, their future, and their worth. They look at their current position and assume it determines their final destination. But what happens to you is not what defines you. How you respond to it does. Life will always bring challenges, unexpected storms, and moments that test your endurance. But none of these have the authority to shape your destiny unless you allow them to. Faith, not circumstances, is what determines the outcome of your life. When challenges arise, the natural response is often fear, doubt, or discouragement. The mind begins to focus on what is seen, on the limitations, on the obstacles standing in the way. But faith does not operate based on what is seen. It operates based on what is true. Circumstances may say you are defeated, but faith declares you are victorious. Circumstances may say the door is closed, but faith declares another door will open. Circumstances may say the situation is impossible, but faith declares that nothing is beyond the reach of divine intervention. People who live by faith do not ignore reality, but they refuse to be ruled by it. They understand that what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. A difficult season does not mean a difficult future. A moment of struggle does not mean a lifetime of failure. A setback is not a conclusion. It is only a chapter in a much greater story. Faith is the ability to look beyond the present moment and see what is possible. It is the assurance that no matter what things look like today, they will not remain the same tomorrow. Some of the greatest individuals in history were those who refused to be defined by their circumstances. They faced rejection, loss, adversity, and hardship, yet they pressed forward because they were guided by faith, not by what was happening around them. Their ability to see beyond the present allowed them to step into something greater. They did not let temporary trials stop them from fulfilling their purpose. They understood that the way things look today is not the way they will always be. Faith does not wait for perfect conditions to act. It moves forward even when the path is uncertain. It speaks life even when the situation looks lifeless. It takes steps even when the destination is not fully visible. Many people delay their progress because they are waiting for everything to be in place, for every obstacle to be removed, for every problem to be solved. But faith does not require perfect conditions. It creates them. Faith does not wait for everything to align. It steps forward and causes alignment to happen. Living by faith means refusing to let circumstances dictate emotions, decisions, or actions. It means standing firm even when things do not go as expected. It means believing in promises even when they seem delayed. Faith understands that difficulties are not stop signs. They are proving grounds. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow stronger, to develop resilience, and to witness the power of perseverance. Those who walk by faith do not crumble under pressure. They rise above it. They do not shrink back in fear. They move forward in confidence. Circumstances are always changing. One moment can be filled with challenges, and the next can bring breakthrough. A season of struggle can quickly turn into a season of victory, but faith remains constant regardless of the fluctuations of life. Faith does not waver when things get hard. It stands firm. It does not retreat when things seem impossible. It pushes forward. The difference between those who are controlled by life and those who take control of life is their faith. Faith transforms obstacles into opportunities and setbacks into stepping stones. It sees beyond the problem and focuses on the promise. It does not give power to circumstances, it gives power to purpose. Obstacles are not meant to stop you. They are designed to reveal the power that lies within you. Every challenge you face carries a hidden opportunity. An opportunity for growth, for strength, for elevation. Too often people see obstacles as barriers, as signals to turn back, or as reasons to doubt their path. But the truth is, obstacles are the training ground for greatness. They are not placed in your life to break you, but to build you. They are not there to discourage you, but to prepare you for something greater than what you see right now. When obstacles arise, the natural response is often frustration or fear. The mind begins to calculate the difficulty, the risks, and the possibility of failure. But faith sees beyond the difficulty and into the purpose. Faith understands that every obstacle carries an answer. Every roadblock carries a lesson, and every closed door leads to something better. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up is not the absence of obstacles, but the perspective they have toward them. Those who walk by faith do not see problems as reasons to stop, but as reasons to press forward with greater determination. Many of the greatest breakthroughs in history came through adversity. Every person who has ever achieved something significant has faced obstacles that seemed insurmountable. They encountered setbacks, resistance, opposition, and moments of discouragement. But what separated them from the rest was their refusal to let the obstacle define their future. They understood that opposition is often an indication that they are on the right path. They knew that the resistance they faced was not a sign to quit, but a sign to push harder. Obstacles are a test of perseverance. They separate those who are merely interested from those who are truly committed. Many start with enthusiasm, but when difficulties arise, they begin to doubt, hesitate, and retreat. But those who carry the fire of faith within them press on, knowing that what is on the other side of the obstacle is worth the fight. They do not allow difficulties to intimidate them. Instead, they rise to meet the challenge with unwavering confidence. The way a person responds to obstacles determines their growth. Those who see obstacles as opportunities develop resilience, wisdom, and a deeper understanding of their purpose. They learn lessons that cannot be taught in comfort. They gain experience that only comes through struggle. They discover a strength they never knew they had. But those who allow obstacles to defeat them miss the chance to grow. They see challenges as setbacks rather than stepping stones. They become stuck in cycles of frustration, not realizing that every difficulty they face carries the key to their next level. Faith does not eliminate obstacles. It gives the power to overcome them. Faith does not promise a life without challenges, but it ensures that no challenge will be greater than the power within. Faith transforms the way obstacles are perceived. Instead of seeing them as roadblocks, faith sees them as doors waiting to be unlocked. Instead of seeing them as limitations, faith sees them as divine setups for elevation. Faith does not ask why an obstacle is present. It asks what can be learned and how to move forward with greater strength. Obstacles also refine character. They reveal patience, discipline, and endurance. They test the depth of faith and the level of commitment. Without challenges, faith remains untested and potential remains dormant. It is in the midst of difficulty that character is formed. It is in the middle of struggle that strength is developed. It is when everything seems uncertain that faith becomes real. Those who refuse to quit in the face of obstacles come out stronger, wiser, and better prepared for the purpose that awaits them. Every great accomplishment requires pushing through resistance. Every dream worth pursuing will encounter moments of hardship. But those who keep moving, who refuse to be discouraged, who see obstacles as opportunities, are the ones who experience breakthroughs that others only dream about. The ability to overcome obstacles is not found in natural ability alone, but in the unshakable belief that nothing can stand in the way of what has been divinely purposed. Faith does not remove the battle, but it guarantees the victory. Prayer is not just a religious ritual or a habit practiced out of tradition. It is the most powerful force available to transform lives, shift circumstances, and unlock divine purpose. Many people see prayer as a last resort, something to turn to only when all other options have failed. But prayer was never meant to be a backup plan. It is the first and most effective strategy in every situation. It is the divine connection between heaven and earth, the bridge between human limitation and divine intervention. Prayer is not about repeating words or following a formula. It is about alignment with divine will, a conversation that opens the doors to wisdom, strength, and breakthrough. Prayer is the channel through which faith is activated, through which burdens are lifted, and through which answers are revealed. Many struggle with prayer because they do not see immediate results. But the power of prayer is not measured by visible evidence alone. Prayer moves in the unseen realm before it manifests in the seen. Just because nothing appears to be happening does not mean that prayer is not working. Every word spoken in faith, every request lifted with sincerity sets something in motion. One of the greatest misconceptions about prayer is that it is meant to change God's mind, to convince him to act, or to persuade him to do something he was not already willing to do. But prayer is not about changing God. It is about changing the one who prays. Prayer aligns hearts with divine purpose, shifts perspectives from fear to faith, and removes distractions that cloud vision. It is in the place of prayer that clarity is found, that direction is given, and that strength is renewed. Many people pray only when they are in need, treating prayer like a tool for crisis management rather than a lifestyle of divine connection. But prayer is not just for emergencies, it is for every moment of life. It is not just for when answers are needed, it is for when wisdom must be maintained. It is not just for times of weakness, it is for sustaining strength even in times of success. Those who build a life of consistent prayer do not wait for problems to arise before seeking divine guidance. They walk daily in alignment, constantly receiving direction, constantly being strengthened, constantly growing in faith. Prayer is not limited by time, location, or circumstance. It can be spoken in the quiet of the morning or in the chaos of the day. It can be lifted in moments of joy or in seasons of pain. There is no situation too big for prayer. No obstacle too great, no need too small. The power of prayer is not in the words spoken, but in the faith behind them. It is not about the length of the prayer, but the belief that fuels it. A single word spoken in faith carries more power than 1,000 words spoken in doubt. Prayer is also an act of warfare. It is the weapon that destroys fear, silences doubt, and overcomes adversity. Life is filled with battles that cannot be won by human effort alone. There are challenges that require more than strategy, more than intelligence, more than persistence. Some breakthroughs will only come through prayer. Some victories will only be secured through consistent intercession. Those who understand the power of prayer do not fight battles with natural weapons alone. They fight with faith-filled declarations, with bold petitions, with unwavering confidence in divine intervention. The enemy of progress always seeks to weaken the prayer life of those who are destined for greatness. distraction, discouragement, and delay are the tools used to make people believe that prayer is ineffective. But those who persist in prayer, who refuse to be moved by circumstances, who stand firm regardless of delays, are the ones who see the greatest breakthroughs. Prayer is not about demanding immediate answers, but about trusting in divine timing. It is not about seeing instant results, but about knowing that every prayer is heard and every request is received. Prayer is also a place of transformation. It is in prayer that fear is replaced with courage, that doubt is replaced with confidence, that weakness is replaced with strength. Those who pray consistently do not live under the weight of worry or the burden of uncertainty. They walk with assurance, knowing that their steps are ordered, their path is secure, and their future is in divine hands. Prayer is not just a practice, it is a lifestyle, a constant connection to the source of all wisdom, strength, and breakthrough. The strength to overcome, the power to persevere, and the wisdom to walk in purpose have always been within reach. Challenges are not meant to break you, but to reveal the depth of your faith and resilience. Circumstances do not define destiny. Faith does. Obstacles are not stop signs, but stepping stones. And every difficulty carries the seed of a greater breakthrough. Prayer is not a last resort, but the foundation for victory, the key to unlocking divine wisdom and the force that moves mountains. Those who embrace faith, persevere through trials, and remain steadfast in prayer will rise above limitations, walk boldly in purpose, and see the fulfillment of every promise set before them.